Okay, so good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right, so let me share my screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, so today what we will do, today we will implement a mini project. Okay, so we will implement a mini project with database, and also we will try to understand how we can connect other databases with our Django application. Okay, so this is our goal. So let's understand what is the difference between make migrations and migrate. Okay, so there are two commands, and this is a interview question as well. Most of the time in interview they may ask make migration and migrate. What's the difference between both? So make migration is responsible to generate SQL code. Okay, so for example we have our model class models.py. Okay, inside the models.py, what we do, generally we create the class. Generally we create the class like student class, employee class. Okay, with that class, with respect of that class, okay, so with respect of that model class, what we want to create database table. We want to create what table in database, table in database, right? So in between, so what we have to do, this is the Python code. First of all, we have to go to the Python code to the SQL code, and then SQL code will execute, then only it will convert into the table. So just read here, make migration is responsible to generate SQL code for Python model class, whereas migrate is responsible to execute the SQL code so that tables will be created in the database, right? So more specifically we can say it. Okay, so let's suppose this is the class, and the class name is mod, this is the file models.py file, which is the Python file, and here I have created model of, like we can say, student model. Okay, I have created a student model class here, or we generally we can say student only, right? So with this student class, this student code, whatever code I have written this models.py file, according to that I want to create database table, because as a Django developer I don't know much about the SQL. Okay, so SQL commands I don't know, but I know how to write the Python. So that Python code, with the help of the Python code, we will create the table. Okay. So which table we are going to create? The table name should be student. The table name is student. As our model name, similarly we have the table name. Okay. So what will happen? So this code. in order to convert this code into the SQL, so we have to execute here. Okay, so in order to convert this model Python code into SQL, we have to write one command which is make migrations. Okay, so make migrations is the command which will convert our Python code into the SQL code. Okay, so this make migration command will convert our code into the SQL code. Okay, so we can say our code converted into what? SQL. Okay, right. So who will convert your model code into the SQL code? Make migrations command, right? Now, so once you will run this command make migration, it doesn't means you got the table in database until unless you will not run this command which is migrate. Okay, if you will not run the migrate command, the table schema will not be created into the database. So we have to run the migrations. Uh, Sorry, it's migrate. So whatever SQL code generated through the model class, that code will be executed by the migrate command. Okay, once the SQL code will execute, then you will get the table in the database, right? And how do we run these commands? How do we run the command? For example, I have created this model class, student model class, right? So later I have done some changes in this model, student model. Means I have added few more columns in it, few more attributes I have added into it. Okay, so what I need to do, I need to write this make migration command, then migrate command to apply the changes on the existing table, right? Okay, so what is the command? So we write the command like py manage.py make migrations. Okay, s is very much important here. Make migrations. The second one is you can write python or py. Py is a short form of python. Second is py manage.py migrate. So these are the commands to run the make migrations and migrate. Okay, so if someone asks you what is the difference between make migration and migrate, so now you got the clarity, guys. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
All right, all right. That's great. So this is about the make migrations and migrate. Let me just add this in the notes. Okay, now let's discuss what project we have to create. Okay, let's discuss the project now. Okay, so what we have to do basically, we will create this project. Which project? Employee management mini project. Okay, so what we have to do, admin panel to insert the data. We should have admin panel to insert the data. So we are going to insert the data to whom? We are going to insert the data into what? Database table. And from where we will insert the data? From admin panel. Okay, so will we create the admin panel? No, we will not create the admin panel. This admin panel already given by the Django. So we will utilize that built-in admin panel. Okay, the second point is views to display data in the HTML. So we will create the view which through we will fetch the data from the database and we will display that data in the HTML, right? API to serve JSON response. Okay, we will create one view which will fetch the data from the database and it will convert that data into the JSON, and that JSON data we will render on the browser and we will create one home page. Okay, so let me show you pictorially like how actually we are going to implement it, right? So you got more clarity about it. Okay, so let's suppose we have a database. Okay, so we have database, and in this database, okay, we have one table. The table name is, let's suppose, employee table. Okay, so this here we have employee table, and this employee table contains some data. This employee table in the database which contains some data. So we are not worried about what data it contains actually, but we know some data it store permanently of employees. So what I need to do, I need to fetch the data. So we have entries like we have different data entries here. Okay, like one record is there, second record is there, okay, third record are there, and so many, so forth. So I have to fetch this data. So who will fetch? We will create one view. Okay. So this is nothing but views.py file. Views.py. Okay. So with the help of views.py file, what we will do, we will fetch the data from the database table. Correct? We will fetch the data from the database table. Right? And how we will fetch? We will see that. And that data we will display, we will render to the HTML. We will display to the HTML page. Okay, so let's suppose here we have HTML template. So that employee data we will display here. Okay. Let's suppose record.html. So here we have to display the data, right? At the same time, let's suppose I have to display the data as a JSON as well, JSON response as well. So from view, what I will do, I'll create one more view which will convert the data which is coming from the database into what? Into the JSON response, and I will display it as a JSON response. Okay, similarly I can create different things, like I can create home page. Okay, so we will see in code as well. Let me just, okay, so now let's see the next. Okay, so what are the steps we need to follow here? So there are some steps we have to follow. Create project and application. So in order to create the project, we will write this command. You already know about it. Okay, so it will create one employee project. Then we will create an application. The application name is employee. Then after that, what we will do, we will do the make migration. So when we will do the make migration, first of all we have to work on model. Okay, we have to create the models.py, and here we will create the employee model. So, and after that, what we have to do, we have to run the migration, and after that we have to create the super user so that we got the access of admin panel, and after that we can run the server and we can enter the data into the database. Okay, so let's do the basic setup first of all. Okay, so okay, so let me open the folder. So here let me create new folder, day 60. Right, so here we will write the command to create the project. So what is the command to create the project? Django admin. Okay, so we will write the command which is, okay, so we will write the command which is Django admin, and after that start project. Right, and what is the project name? The project name is emp project. So let's keep the same name, emp underscore project. Okay, employee project. Okay, now just go to this location, emp project. So first of all change the directory. Right, now after this what we have to do, we have to create one application. What is the name of the application? Employee. Okay, so py manage.py start app test app, not test app but employee. Okay, so once we got the employee application, what we need to do, we need to register it. So where we will register? In settings.py, and in the settings.py file, here we will see install that, and here we have to write the name of our application, which is employee. At the same time, I'll create here template folder as well. So just click here, and here we will create the template, right? We can also create the static folder, right? But before creating the static folder, in the template folder itself, we have to create one more folder, which is employee. Okay, so it will contain the employee related templates. Okay, let's create one more folder, which is static, right? And in this static folder, let's create images folder, image, and css. Okay, all right. Now just what we have to do, we have to configure these two folders in settings.py. So where we will configure it, after base dir, we will create two variables. One variable will keep the path of this template folder, and another will keep the path of static folder. So we will write here templates, template dir is equals to base dir forward slash template. Is the same name, similar name we have to write, which is our folder name. Similarly, we have to create here one more variable, which is static dir. Okay, so here I will write base dir and static. Now we have to register this name in the templates dir. So let's search templates dir. So here we have templates, here we have dirs. So here let's write the variable name which holding the path, so template dir. And after that we have to go in the last, here we will create one more variable, which is, we will create one list, which is static files dirs. Okay, and here we will write the static dir variable name, which is holding the path of this static folder. Okay, so this setup is done. Now next what we have to do, we have to go to the employee application, and here we have to write the code for the model. Okay, why we are writing the code for the model? Because that code we will convert, that model we will convert into the database. Okay, like this, the model will convert into SQL, and then SQL code we will execute, so that we got the database table. And why we are creating database table, so that we can store the data permanently in the database, right? Okay, now what we have to do, so we have to create the model. Okay, so these commands are only useful when you are having your model class. Okay, then only it will convert into the SQL code. So just let's see here. So as we can see here, here we have models.py file. Inside the models.py file, which model we are creating? Employee. Okay, and we are inheriting which class? Model class. How many fields are there, or you can say these are the column of the database table. So first column is name, second column is age, the third column is department, okay, and the fourth column is email. What should be the data type of this name? So the data type of name is what? Character field, and this character field is the class which is available inside the models. Okay, whenever you are writing this character field data type, you need to mention data type, data length as well. So how many number of characters it can hold? So the maximum length is 100, so it can hold up to 100 characters. Okay, now age, what should be the data type of age? It should be the integer, so that's why we are adding here integer field. right? For the department, character field. For the email, we have email field. Okay, these are the fields, these are the classes provided by the Django itself, right? And we are writing here str, okay, self. So this is for writing the name of our, it will display our model name. Okay, it will not display as an object in admin panel, it will display as a object name. Okay, so this is just for displaying the object name. So we have written here self dot name, right? So let me tell you something more. Okay, so the moment we are writing here, okay, so when we are writing this mod models dot model, okay, so what is this? This is the base class for all models. So this is what parent class, we can say parent class for all model. Whenever you will create any model like student model, employee model, so we need to write this parent class. So this is equivalent to create table. Okay, create student table, create employee table. So it is the equivalent to the SQL query. Just wait guys.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Will you teach abstract model?
Abstract model.
Yeah.
Okay, so once go through the syllabus, whatever is there in the syllabus, I will teach all of that.
No, generally just a view because I don't know the difference between the just
Uh, yeah, we will see that.
in the models dot model you are writing, right?
Yeah.
There abstract model is another one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So how what is that? Just basic information. Can you give that?
Right now, let's discuss the same this. Okay, later I will tell you about this. Okay, because I have to.
Did you use in real time abstract model?
No, as of now, I didn't use that. So I'll tell you later.
You didn't use it till now.
No.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So this is what? This is relevant to the, this is equivalent to the create table. Okay. And the table will be like employee table. Right? And for example, when I'm writing name is equals to models dot character field and the maximum length is 100. Okay, so it means what we are doing, we are creating the text field or text, or we can say a column. The type of the column is what? Text, and which can hold 100 words. Like similarly, this column also I'm writing here. Okay, and we have this employee dot object dot all. So this is equivalent to the select star from employee. Okay, so select star from table name. This is what table name. So it will fetch the data from the database table, right? So we will see that in the view. We will see that. So let's create the model. Okay. So here we have to create the model. So class, which class? What's the class name we have to create? The class name is employee class. Okay, so we have to create employee class with these respective four fields. Okay, class employee. Okay, and it should inherit from the models dot model. Okay, and here how many fields we have to create here? So we have to create name, age, department, right? And one more thing, which is email. Okay, so name, age, department, Okay, and then email. So name is what? Name is what? Character field. So character field, for the character fields we need to use character field class. Okay, and here we have to write the maximum length. So what's the maximum length? So let's 100 characters, up to 100 characters it can hold. Okay, and please don't give the comma when you are going to the next line. Please don't give here comma, right? So next age, models dot integer field. Okay, so here we don't need to provide the maximum length, and models dot character field, here we need to provide the maximum length. Okay, so let's say 100 or 150 characters. Now email, for the email we will write the models dot which field? Email field, right? So this is how we have completed our model class. So it's better to write these lines as well, so that we got our uh, model name. Okay, so def str. Okay, and this is self dot name. We have to return. So this is how we have created the model. If you will not write this code, so still your model has been created. Okay, once you got the model, what you need to do? We need to run the command which is make migrations. Why we are writing the make migration command? So that we got the relevant SQL code. Okay, from model to SQL. How you will convert? Using migrations. So how to write this command? So we will write py manage.py make migrations. Okay, migrations as is also there. So press enter. So what it is saying? Migrations for employee. Okay, so it has create model employee. Okay, so it has created model employee. Now we have to execute that model employee, that SQL code, right? So in order to create table through the SQL code, we need to write the migrate command as well, right? So we will write here py manage.py migrate. Okay, press enter, right? So it has created the table. Okay, these are the default table it has created, right? And this is employee table also it has created. Now what we will do, we will insert the data in this model. In this model we will insert the data, but from where we will insert? From the admin panel. So in order to insert the data from admin panel, first of all we have to go to the admin and register our model. Okay, so what we will do, first of all we will import our model class here. So from testf dot model. Okay, from testf, not, this is not the testf, this is the employee app. Okay, and in the employee app we have several applications, several files, but out of them we have to use models. Okay, import here what, which class we will import in the models.py? Employee class. So we have employee class, we will import it employee, right? Okay, now what we have to do? So we have to register it. So in order to register it, we have the command admin.site.register. Okay, so we can register it. So admin.site.register. Okay, so which class? Employee class. Okay, so once you register the employee class, okay, so now what you need? You need the access of admin panel to insert the data. So how you will get the access of the admin panel? You need to create the super user. Okay, so you need to create the super user. How to create the super user? You will write the command py manage.py create super user. Okay, create super user. Okay, so it is asking the name of the user, so I'm writing admin as a name. Email, I'm not giving password, let's say 123. Okay, and yes, I want to go with this password. So okay, super user created successfully. Now what we can do, we can run the server and we can access our employee model through the admin, and we can insert the record in it. So py manage.py, first of all we need to run the server. Okay, py manage.py run server, so it will start the server. Okay, we got the server and this is the URL. So just open the browser. Okay, open the browser and run this. Okay, so we got the default page here. Now if you want to go to the admin panel, so just write here /admin. Right, so here we got the admin panel. And what is the username and what is the password? So the username I have written as admin and the password I have written as 123. So just click on login. Okay, so here what we are getting, here we are getting our model. Okay, so just click on it. Now what we have to do, I have to add the employee record. So add employee, so name like Nobita, age is what, 25. Okay, department is what, computer. Okay, so this is what employee, he's an employee na? So he's from mm, technical department. Okay, email is nobita@gmail.com. Okay, so just save this record. So we got one employee information inserted into the database. Let's insert another employee like Jian. I hope I'm writing the correct spelling. Okay, 30 years, which department? Sales department. Okay, so jian@gmail.com. Save it. Let's insert one more record, which is Doraemon. Okay, and the age is 40 and the department is HR department, and email is dora@gmail.com. So we got the four records, I mean three records. Okay, so if you will go to your VS Code, right, in the VS Code, if you will go to the DB SQLite 3, which is provided by the Django by default. So if you will click here, you will see all the entries. Okay, so which table you have? So we have this employee table. Okay, so here you can see the records, and this is the ID column, which is by default added in by the Django. This is the column, we didn't create it. Okay, but these are the entries we have given. Right, now what we have to do, from the database we have to print this on the HTML page. So what we have to do, we have to fetch this data through the view, and we have to render this data into what, into the HTML. Okay, so uh, here we have created different views, like we have home view, right, we have employee list view, and we have employee API view. Okay, so let's create these views, right. So where we will get the views file, so inside the application. Okay, So here, what are the views we have to create? First is home view. Second one is employee list view. And the third one is employee API view. Okay. So this home view, what we will do basically, here we are just rendering the home.html. Okay, so in order to render the home.html file, okay, so we must have this template which is home.html. Okay, or we can say index.html. Let's write here in, okay, let's write the same name, home.html. Okay, and here let's write some basic code, and here I'm writing h1 home page. Okay, to test. And what we have to do, from this view we have to render it. So in order to render it, we will write return and render. Okay, request, and which request we have to render? To the employee and home.html, right? So for this view we need to create one URL. Okay, so what we will do, we will create here application label URL. So this is our application which is employee. Here I'll create one file which is urls.py file. Okay, and you will get one default file in the project settings, project configurations, urls.py. So let me just delete it, and I'll copy this code and go to my application label URL, and I will paste it here. Okay, so I don't need to use the admin panel here in the application label, but I need to use the path. Okay, so which URL we are going to create? Here we are going to create the forward slash. Okay, and I will attach it with views dot. Okay, what is the view name? View name is home. Okay, so what it is saying, view is not defined. So view is not defined. Why view is not defined? Because we are not importing view here. This file, this urls.py file don't know anything about the view. Okay, so this view file we need to import here on URLs. So here I will import the view. So from test, from the employee import views. Okay, so now it is okay. So now let's run the server and test. Okay, so run the server means localhost 8000. It's already running. Okay, so what we have to do, we have created this application label URL. So this application label URL, we have to link it project label URL. So which is this? So here we have to keep the information for the same. So I will write here path. Okay, and I will include here, and what I will include, so what it is saying, include is not defined. So I will say let's define the include. Let's import the include function, and here I will write the application name. What is the application name? Employee. And inside the employee, which file we are going to import, I mean we want to use URLs. Okay, so this is how, this is the application label URL which we are going to include in what project label URL, right? So that we got the access of that all URLs. So now refresh it. Okay, so what's the problem now? It should run actually. Let's see. Similarly, I'm also writing, but why the mistake is coming? Okay, so now it is running. So let's go here one more time. So the same page now. Okay, so it is displaying the home page now. Okay, so it is displaying which page? Home page, right? So this HTML template is rendering. Okay, so here let's give two options to the user. Okay, so what are the two options? One is view employee and the second one is view employee JSON, right? So for the okay, so before creating that view, let's create the URL for that particular view. So one is employee URL, second is API employees. Okay, these two URLs we have to create. Okay, so let me just copy it because we don't have much time to complete it. So where we have to keep it inside the application label URL. Okay, so we have the application label URL here. Okay, so here I will paste it. Right, so this is for employee view and this is for API view. So here we have employee list view and API view, right? In the employee list view, what we will do, we will fetch the data from the database. So how to fetch the data through the database? In SQL, we write select star from employee. Okay. So but here what we will write in Django, we will write ORM command. Okay. So we will write here employee dot objects. Okay, objects dot on. Okay, so it is similar to the select star from employee. So these both are similar. One is SQL command, one is ORM command. So how we will write? First of all, we need to access the employee here from where? From the test app dot model. Okay, dot model import. Okay, it's models, I guess. Import employee. Okay, there is no
Now,
test app. Yes, yes, here is employee. Okay, so what we have to do here, we will write here employee dot objects dot all. Okay, so this means it will fetch the employee data, right? And what we will do with this data, as you can see here. Okay, so this is what we are fetching the employee data and we are storing in a variable, and that variable, okay, so let's store inside a variable. Okay, so now create the dictionary. Okay, so I'm writing here dictionary, and it is having key which is employee, and it is having value, right? So this dictionary we have to pass while rendering the template. So return render, okay, request, and what we have to do, we have to write here employee. Okay, so what should be our template name which will display our employee information? So here what I have given, so okay, so there is one template which is employee list.html. So here we will create employee list.html, emp underscore list.html, right? And while rendering this template, okay, so we need to share this dictionary as well. So I will share here dictionary dict, right? So here we have to create this template as well because this template is not available here. So let's create .html employee list.html. Okay, so html5. So in the form of table we will display the information. Okay, so border is 2 or 3, whatever, right? So here we have to write, okay, so what we will write here, tr table row. Okay, so okay, and here we will write th for designing the table header. So first is what, we can display the id, okay, and then what we can display, we can display name, okay, and the third thing we can display the department, right? And the fourth thing we can display email, email of the employee, right? And after that we have to write one more row, okay, and in this row we have to display the employee details. But do we have one employee or more than one employee? We have more than one employee, right? So what we will do, we will iterate it. So for iterating we need to use for loop, for, okay, emp in what we are sending from the view employee. Okay, so we have to check it in em employee. Okay, so for emp in employee, so this is the for loop because we have more than one entries of the employee, so that is why we will use the for loop to iterate over each entry of the employee. And here we need to end for, right? Okay, and we have to write the data. Okay, so emp dot id means it will bring the id, so we need to insert the id. So for inserting it we need to use this double curly braces, so inserting the data in the table. Okay, so basically here inside this we will create the row. Okay, so here create row tr, okay, and td, right? So first of all we have to insert what, see, first heading name is id, so we need employee id. So this is the employee which is having more than one records, and this is emp will contain single entry. Okay, So from employees it will get single employee, so single employee information. Okay. So td means table data, right? So let's copy it and paste it few more time. So here we will insert employee emp name, and the second one is emp, okay, emp department and emp email. Okay, so we can write this, right? So before creating the table we can check one more condition here. Let's suppose this is our table. So before creating the table we will check whether data is present in the database or not. So what we can do, we can check before creating the table, we can check whether employee data is in employee is there or not. So if employee, so if employee is having data means this condition is true. Okay, if this condition is true, then only create what, create the table, create this table. When employee is there in the database, then only create this table. Otherwise, if employee is not available, so don't create the table, just go to the else block, just go to the else block, okay, and display one message using h1, okay, style color red, okay, I'm writing inline style, and here we can say no record, no employee record found. Okay, and we can end the if condition. So we can write here and if, right? So we can write and if. Okay, and if data is available, we can write one heading here, employee details. Okay, so we can write here style color is, let's suppose, green. Okay, and after that we can write one hr is for horizontal row, it will add, right? So I hope you are getting the structure. So first of all we have to check whether employee is having data or not. So what is this employee actually? So we are fetching data from database using orm command, which is employee.objects.all. So it will fetch the data from the database. Okay, so when data is available, then only this employee will get the data. So this employee here also we are checking. Okay, we are checking here also whether this employee is having data or not. If it does not have data, do not execute the if part, just execute the else part. And what is the else part? No employee record found. Okay, if data is already there, then print this line, employee details, print one horizontal line, create a table, and the border is what, 3, right? And just create this header. Okay, and iterate this information for the each employee. Okay, so this is what we have to do. Next is urls. Do we have create urls for the same? Okay, so we have employee url here. Okay, so let's check whether this information is being displayed or not. Okay, so employee. Okay, so it is, the name is employees. Okay, so we are getting the information. Okay, we are getting the information on this table, right? Let's suppose if I delete one record. Let's suppose I am removing this Gian from this list, from the admin panel. So I will click on delete, click on go, Yes, sure, I want to delete it. Okay, now we have two entries. So if you will refresh here also, you will get the two entries, right? So let's do one thing. Let's delete all the details, all the employees. Okay, so delete all. Okay, so that time what we will get, if you will see here and if you will refresh it, what it is displaying, no employee record found. Okay, so that is why we inserted the conditions. Okay, conditions I have used in order to render the data, right? So I hope you are getting the clarity. The next view we have to implement, which is the employee API. Okay, employee API means we have to display the JSON data in the form of JSON, right? So here also what we have to write, so we have to fetch the employee data. Okay, so we are fetching the records. Okay, so we are writing employee dot objects dot all. So here if you want to, whatever records you want to fetch, you can write the name of that particular columns. Okay, so it will store that columns data inside the employee. Okay, and this employee, okay, this will be in the form of list. Okay, right, and here we are using JSON response. Okay, so this employee, okay, so whatever data is coming from the employee table, that table data we are converting into the list format. Okay, and we are writing safe mode false so that it will help us to parse the data. Otherwise, it true means it will be strict mode. Okay, so I'm just, okay, let me just write here. So employee, which will fetch the data. So employee dot objects dot all. Okay, so let's suppose I'm not writing value as of now. Okay, so return JSON response. So in order to return JSON response, we need to import the JSON. So from Django dot http import JSON response. So this JSON response we need to use. Okay, so let's convert it into what, list and of the safe mode. Okay, so safe mode is false. Okay, so for this AP, this view we have one URL. What's the URL name? API employees. So let's just keep this URLs. So we have to mention also like which data we have to display. The views.py file. So we will write here dot value. Okay, so we want ID, name, and we want department and email. So refresh it. What it is saying. Very sad. So here we have to write values, not value. Still it is giving error.
Department spelling mistake.
Okay, okay, department spelling. So let's check now. Okay, why still it? Okay, we already deleted all the records now. That's why it is not displaying, because in in our table we don't have data. So for example, if I'm writing here localhost 8000 and employees, so what it is saying, no employee record, that's why it is not displaying in the API. So we can insert, okay, so we can insert like ABC name, ages, let's suppose ABC department, ABC at the rate gmail. So let's suppose this data I'm inserting. So if we will refresh it, so we are getting data on this HTML template, and in API whether we are getting data or not. So here we are getting data in the API, right? But let's suppose I don't want to display the email, so I can delete email from here. So on the API it is not displaying email, okay, but here on template it is displaying the email, okay. All right, so that's all for today, okay. So you can practice it guys, right? And this document also you can find, okay, this document you can find in the, okay, let me first push it on GitHub, okay. And do we have created the home page with, okay, so we have to write here, like we have to create two anchor tag. One is for to display the employee details, or we can say employee list, and the second is what, API data, okay. So here we will write the which endpoint name we will write. So here which, this is the employees and API employees. So this is what we have to mention here in anchor tag, and here we have to write employees, right? So let's go to the home page, and we can design the home page nicely. Just click on this employee list, so we are getting this, and API data, so we are getting the API data. So your responsibility is to design this home page, design the employee list page in a better way, okay. Use the CSS, use the images, okay. So API data page you don't need to design, just design the home page and employee list page, okay. And you can create the CSS folder, I mean CSS file here, and you can inject the CSS, link the CSS in HTML, right? So that's all for today. Let me push this code on GitHub. Okay. Okay, so if you will go to the GitHub link, right? So here you will see day 16. Okay, in day 16, okay, this is day 16. We are having code only, but where I kept this. Okay, otherwise you can access the code from here directly. Okay, I will provide the PDF on Guru. Right, let me just check once. So here database mini project. So do we have a folder of database mini project? So let's do one thing, just copy this in day 60. Let me paste it here. So it, so here in day 60, and from here you can see the PDF, right? So here you will get complete detailed source code, okay, with instructions as well. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you everyone for joining the meeting and giving your valuable time. Bye, all of you.